White House says Israel's Rafah actions don't cross Biden's red line. In recent developments, Israeli forces have advanced further into Rafah following an airstrike that ignited a major fire and claimed the lives of dozens of Palestinians. Despite mounting global condemnation and the suspension of U.S. aid deliveries to Gaza due to damage at its temporary pier, the White House has stated that Israel has not breached President Biden's red line. On Tuesday, Israeli tanks entered central Rafah for the first time, intensifying concerns over the escalating conflict. As the international community reacted to the deadly strike on a crowded tent camp, the U.S. National Security Council spokesman John Kirby addressed the situation. He reassured reporters that the Biden administration is closely monitoring Israel's operations and does not consider the current actions in Rafah to be a major ground operation that would trigger a shift in U.S. policy, such as halting weapons shipments. Kirby defined a major ground operation as involving thousands and thousands of troops moving in a maneuvered, concentrated, coordinated way against a variety of targets on the ground. He emphasized that the Biden administration does not see Israel's actions in Rafah as fitting this description. A U.S. official also commented that while the strike was a horrific incident, it seemed to be an airstrike gone horribly wrong, rather than a deliberate escalation into Rafah. President Biden previously warned that if Israel conducted a major operation in Rafah, the U.S. would cease supplying certain weapons historically used in such operations. However, Kirby clarified that Israeli officials claim their tanks are operating along the Philadelphia corridor, a strategic strip along the Egypt-Gaza border, and not within Rafah itself. Kirby's remarks came days after an Israeli airstrike caused a devastating fire in Rafah's Tal al-Sultan neighborhood, killing at least 45 people, including children, according to local health officials. Hala Raret, a former U.S. diplomat who resigned from the State Department in protest over U.S. policy on Israel's war in Gaza, criticized the administration's stance. She argued that the intent of Biden's red line was to prevent mass civilian casualties, regardless of whether the violence comes from tanks or airstrikes. The point of the president saying population centers were a red line is to avoid mass civilian casualties, Raret told NBC News. Whether they're going in by tanks or it's happening via bombs coming from the air, are we really trying to mince words? Stay tuned to PrimeBeat TV for more updates on this developing story.